Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people and hugely talented people as well. Joining us on the programme today is Jonathan Antoine. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Do you know, I'm delicious, and all the better for talking to you because you have got such a gift and a talent. I always say this to people of your ilk. You can't be trained to sing like that, can you really?
Well, you know, over several years it can happen, but it's, yes, it is a very arduous task.
Let me ask you about your life. You wake up in the morning and you cough to see if your voice is still there, do you? And then you get on with your day. How much pressure is there you're going to sound like you?
A surprisingly small amount, even at gigs. I sort of just have to make sure that I'm still operating as best as I possibly can. There's not a lot of pressure. They try and keep it very chill around the gig kind of scene.
You've got such a gift. I've got this new album here in front of me, and I've been listening to it for the last few days. Tenore is this brand new album, and it's so beautiful, featuring a mixture of tunes from the classics Granada to things like Love Changes Everything, which you don't necessarily expect, but you bring it to life in such a new way. Did you do that deliberately?
Well, I tried my very best to do it deliberately, and hopefully a lot of people think that I did it deliberately, even if maybe secretly there's a little bit of fault and accident in there all the way through.
Let's talk about you and your beginnings. You started singing presumably in the pram as a baby. At what point did you realise you could possibly make a career out of this?
Well, career-wise, I think the first time I had an inkling that I could maybe make a little bit of money and have some fun with this is when I was, I think, 16, I did my first sort of paid little thing. It was for my friend's communion party.
Wow.
I did 3 songs and I got paid 60 whole quid for it. So I was chuffed.
Blimey, that's more money than you get today, isn't it, in show business?
Yeah, I know, that's madness.
Did somebody say to you there and then, oh my God, he's got the most amazing gift? I mean, were people shocked?
I mean, I've been singing since I was about 11, so no one was super surprised. But when my voice ended up breaking, and I turned into this tenor, as opposed to having like a really high sort of male soprano voice, when my voice broke, everyone sort of stopped for a second and thought, there's something interesting going on here.
And does it choose you? I'm always curious about classical people. I'm a big fan and friend of people like Russell Watson and Alfie and all those wonderful guys that have brought this tremendous classical music to the masses. And that's what I love about what you do. You completely pull the carpet away from the snobbery. Did it choose you or did you choose it? Because, I mean, you could have been a pop singer or you could have been a rapper if you'd have wanted. Why classical music?
I suppose it did choose me, which is it's cliche and you know, standard, but I went to singing lessons when I started high school, and from there I did a few musical theatre sort of numbers like Where Is Love from Oliver, and it just progressed from there. There was never any real decision, it just happened.
And do you love it? I mean, is this something when you hear that orchestra start up, I can't imagine there's anything more thrilling than hearing the roar of the band and then you get to shine. I mean, the pin focuses on you and you take over, don't you?
There really is nothing quite like it on this earth, honestly. It's very, very polarizing experience, I suppose. You get to, you're on one end of the music and you want to funnel it to everyone that could possibly enjoy it.
What goes through your head when you're stood there centre stage and it's all about you? Do you panic about remembering the words? Are you thinking about the tune? Or do you let your mind just free flow and think about nothing other than being present?
Well, every single moment up until I go on stage, I am worrying about every possible, potential, tiny little thing that could possibly happen. But as soon, the instant, the very moment that I get onto the stage, my mind is blank, completely nothing, and I let myself go to the music, which is again a little cliche, but too true to not be said.
Is it the time that you're truly you, Jonathan? Is that the period where you are most comfortable when you're singing on a stage?
Most definitely, I'd say. There are no restrictions. There's no society on stage. It's just you go up there and you do what you do. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, that's their prerogative.
Right. I hate it when people compare, when they say, oh, he's the new Sinatra or she's the next Streisand, because it's very unfair, but you are basically classed as Britain's teenage Pavarotti. That's how they talk about you, which is a huge compliment, because let's face it, nobody was as good as Pavarotti. Truly stunning. When you stand there and sing something from Rigoletto, for example, La Donna Mobile, which is the first track on this Tenore album, what do you feel? Do you feel you've got a responsibility to those who have sung it before you and, of course, those who wrote it?
I try my very hardest not to think about that.
Good move.
I know that I will be given to slowly panic. But when I do sing these songs, the more classical stuff, what usually goes through my head is just the the flow of the song itself, because these tunes, they are just so massive, so arcing over the background melodies and everything, and I just try. I lose myself in this ebb and flow of music.
When I hear the beautiful song Parlo più piano, which most people will know as Godfather, it's haunting, it's anthemic, it's wonderful. There's sort of something spiritual about that song, isn't there? Are you a religious person? Do you have to put that into your music, or do you leave that out of it?
I try and make my beliefs as far removed as I can from my music. Personally, my music stays at my music, and that is where it ends as well. Whereas personally, I am a very agnostic sort of person. I am completely unsure of everything.
Right.
And on the religion side of things, I try not to get focused on it, because there's a lot there to dabble in, I suppose.
There are more questions than answers, aren't there, really?
Oh yeah, most definitely. The questions are never ending. Again, I keep my agnostic sort of self away from the music.
It's interesting. The reason I bring that up, I mean, Panis Angelicus was one of your most famous tunes, and it is glorious. I mean, I sang that in an Italian choir years ago, and I wonder whether that spirituality sort of moves you and what fuels the performance.
Most definitely, the spirituality of the piece itself does move me, and it does, hopefully at least, come through in the performances. I think what the song itself means to me, like literal translation-wise, and I try and pick up on that as best as I possibly can, whilst flavouring it with my own little, flourishes and the way that I interpret it myself. But yeah, it's very tricky to interpret such classic songs, because they have been done by so many people, and they have been done so very well. But like I said, I just like to come in and add my little spin on things.
I think we've got a little bit in common. It was interesting when I saw you on Britain's Got Talent, and there you were immediately. Of course, this dopey media in Britain jump on your weight. I was a kid who was 18 stone at 12 years old, and it's not an easy life, is it? Have you been bothered by that? Have you been affected by the cruelness that people have before they've even heard you?
I have tried not to be my very hardest. I try not to find anything negative, and I try and always look towards brightness as opposed to dark.
Nice phrase. Yeah.
Thank you. What essentially I like to do is just focus on anything good that people say, and as for my weight, I have been taking my own steps to get that under my own control, and I think I've done quite well with it. The last I checked, I'd lost around 40 odd pounds.
Wow.
Since I'd left the show. So, all of that nowadays, I think, is down to me, and I don't get fazed by anyone who says anything about it.
For me, it's carbs. What's the killer for you? What is the thing that you love to eat the most?
Oh, man. That's a tough question, because it's probably everything.
You see, I'm a sandwich guy. If I walk past a Greg's, for example, I don't know what to eat first, the sausage roll or the sandwich or both.
Yeah, I think it's probably baked goods. It's either baked goods or frozen goods. One of the two just always gets me.
How do you discipline to lose 40 pounds? Because it's an amazing achievement.
A mixture of just, about 3.5 seconds more thought when just going for some food. Just thinking about it just a little bit more. And the other half of the combination is Weight Watchers, which is a plan that I quite enjoy. But it's occasionally quite tough to follow to the letter. So the fortunate thing about it is that you get these numbers sort of in your head as to how many points stuff is, and it's sort of with you forever.
Right.
So it's a useful little system.
Have you got a target where you're trying to get to?
At the moment, I'm just trying to stay alive.
The only reason I say that, when we look at Pavarotti, who in my view had the greatest classical voice ever, does it help resonate the voice, or is it completely irrelevant?
I am unsure. I couldn't tell you, but personally, I think so. It's just all to do with how it resonates inside the body, and I think that up to a certain point, there's different types of resonance depending on your size and your body mass index and stuff. I think it's probably all really, really complicated stuff that I'm trying to simplify down to maybe not.
Was there a moment when you thought, I've got to lose a few pounds? For me, it was when I stood on the talking scales and it said 1 at a time, please. These moments can hurt, can't they, Jonathan?
They can indeed. I think my moments are whenever I try on something from maybe like a year ago and it doesn't fit, anything like that.
Right.
And I'm just like, I need to get myself in check.
Yeah, good for you. And of course, we got to know you through Britain's Got Talent, and there was all the chit-chatter about you and your good lady that you performed with. You went your separate ways earlier on in the year. Was that tough, going from having somebody next to you on stage to walking on by yourself?
It was most definitely, particularly at first. A lot of the point behind it was that I feel a lot better within myself, and all those times that I needed support, I had that support network, and I was very, very grateful for it. But now I'm this new Jonathan. I am this new me that is able to do these things, is able to go out and perform on a stage by himself, which is strange and odd, and you've got a very large open space with no one beside you, but it is fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's interesting, the psychology of a fatty, and I put myself in that category. It's always surprising when anybody attractive wants to stand next to me. I'm deeply unattractive, ginger hair and a small penis, Jonathan. There's not much going on my end. When Charlotte was there next to you, was it utterly thrilling that somebody that beautiful was so proud? And that's the point. She wasn't doing it out of pity or some form of sympathy. She really wanted to stand next to you. Was that life affirming?
Yeah, it was great, and it was easy to have someone there with me, someone who actually, cared, and I was and still am incredibly thankful for that.
What I love about the British public is they don't care whether you're fat, thin, tiny meat, well hung, small fat, lesbian, straight, transsexual, if you're good, you're good, and that's what you had, an ability and a talent. That must be thrilling to know that you're still here, you've got this brand new album, and you're even taking off in America, aren't you?
Hopefully, yes. I can't obviously say anything concrete because America's just a huge market, but with luck I'll be cracking that market.
Well, and the good thing is over there you'll be seen as clinically slim, won't you?
Most likely. I do like that. I do like going to America and going into just your average shop and finding stuff that fits me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good for your soul, isn't it?
Yeah, again, life affirming.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I really love talking to you. Let's do this again one day face to face where we can meet, because that will be wonderful. Your debut solo album is out now. It's called Tenore, which is just tremendous. A beautiful album with some really great, beautiful songs. Of course, Panis Angelicus is on there. Be My Love is beautiful. For me, I think probably Parla Più Piano is just the most stunningly beautiful song that you do, so well sung. And of course, Granada raises the roof as you always do. Jonathan, Antoine, thank you so much for your time and good luck with this new album.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.